Welcome back to Career Power Hyderabad, powered by Adda 247. Students, today we will see the current affairs of the 30th June 2021. So let's go into the headlines today. So the first headline for today, so the Union Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad has launched a new website. So what is that new website? The central government has inaugurated the Asia's longest and the world's fifth longest high-speed track at which place, which city in India? So PM Modi has launched a Japanese-style Zen Garden and Kaizen Academy at which city? So which space agency is going to hire the first disabled astronaut? So what is its space agency? So which country has started their world's second biggest hydropower dam? So if you see the other headlines, so which country is now included in the Financial Action Task Force Grey List? So what is this Financial Action Task Force and what is this Grey List all about? We'll discuss. So who was appointed as the chairman of IFUNA, Indian Federation of the United Nations Association? So who is that youngest Indian to debut into all forms of cricket? So who is that youngest Indian to make debut in all forms of cricket? So who is that Indian shooter who wins the gold medal at SSF World Cup shooting? So International Shooting Sport Federation World Cup shooting. So who is that Indian who won gold medal? So ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2021 to be held in which country? So earlier it used to be hosted by India, but India has it is hosting in another place. So what is that country? So if you see the other headlines like, so who is the first woman cricketer to get banned dope ban? So who is that Indian cricketer? International Asteroid Day is observed on. International Day of Parliamentarism is observed on. And Chief Justice of India, Justice N.V. Ramana, he released a book titled Anomalies in the Law and Justice, which is authored by. So these are all the headlines. So before going into the detailed analysis, so please watch all our previous videos. So this is a continuation of the previous videos. So this will make you aware of all the current affairs. It will be a good revision for you. So you know bank exams are coming near. So you need to have a quick revision of all your current affairs. So please watch our previous videos. We have detailed current affairs videos. We have MCQ videos. We have weekly revision of the current affairs. So please watch all the videos. Follow our channel. Every day we will provide you current affairs, important current affairs for bank, SSC and RRB. So now we will go into the detailed analysis where the Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad has launched a new website, IT80 eDwar. So IT80 eDwar is the e-filing portal for the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. So by this e-filing portal, so the parties now they can file their appeals, their miscellaneous applications, their documents, their paper books electronically. So this will help in enhancing the accessibility, accountability, transparency in the day-to-day working of the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. What is this Income Tax Appellate Tribunal? Income Tax Appellate Tribunal is a quasi-judicial institution which is set up in 1941. It works under the Department of Legal Affairs in the Ministry of Law and Justice. So initially it has 3 branches at Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai. Presently it has 63 benches at 27 different locations, almost having almost in every city where the High Court seat is present. So this Income Tax Appellate Tribunal is called the Mother Tribunal because it is the oldest tribunal in the country, which is formed in 1941. It mainly deals with appeals under the Direct Taxes Act like the Income Tax Act 1961. Okay. So the Law Minister has launched this IT80 eDwar. So what is this IT80 eDwar? IT80 eDwar is the e-filing portal of the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. And you know what is Income Tax Appellate Tribunal? It's a quasi-judicial body formed in 1941 mainly to accept the appeals made under the Direct Taxes Act like the Income Tax Act 1961. So please remember. So next coming to national news where Centre inaugurates the Asia's longest and the world's 5th longest high-speed track. So the Ministry of Heavy Industries, they inaugurated this NAT track. So National Automotive Test Tracks. So this track was built at Pithampur, which is near Indore. So this track is built in 1000 acres of land with 11.3 kilometer high-speed track. So this is a one-stop solution for high performance tests from category of vehicles like two-wheelers to heavy tractors. So this high-speed track is used for measuring speed capabilities of mainly like high-end cars like BMW, Mercedes, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Tesla. So this high-speed track has 2 semi-circular curves where you can test your vehicles at a maximum speed of 250 kilometers without touching the steering, and by having the control on steering you can reach up to 375 kilometers per hour. So this is about the high speed track which is built in Pithampur near Indore. So this track was built by NATSTRAC, so National Automotive Test Tracks. So they developed this track in 1000 acres, 11.3 kilometer high speed track. So this will be used by the automobile companies to test their vehicles, to test the highest performance of their vehicles. So the next coming to news, where PM Modi has launched a Japanese style Zen garden and a Kaizen academy at Ahmedabad. So at the Ahmedabad Management Association campus, so he inaugurated this Japanese style Zen garden and Kaizen academy. So these two are part of the PM's vision of creating a mini Japan in Gujarat. So these are the initiatives of PM Modi to create a mini Japan in Gujarat. So Zen garden will showcase several elements of the Japanese art and culture, landscape architecture and the Buddha statue. So if this garden is built with the help of the Japanese Information Study Center, Indo-Japan Friendship Association and Hugo International Association of Japan. So Kaizen, so what is Kaizen Academy? So Kaizen means improvement, not only improvement but continuous improvement. So this Kaizen program was introduced in the administrative training in Gujarat when the PM Modi was the chief minister. So this continued improvement, this Kaizen program was reflected in the refined processes, leading to a positive impact on governance. Later on, when he is the Prime Minister of India, he also implemented this Kaizen in multiple schemes. So this is about the Kaizen Academy. Improvement, not only improvement, it's continuous improvement. Also remember Gujarat CM Vijay Rupani and Gujarat Governor Acharya Devvrat. So next news, where the European Space Agency is going to hire first disabled astronaut. So they called for application, nearly 22,000 people like they applied for this astronaut. So ESA, European Space Agency, is developing technologies for the para-astronaut system. So it is trying to give a message to the world that space is open for everyone. So the Ariane rocket of ESA has a lot of competition today, mainly from the Elon Musk SpaceX and Jeff Bezos Blue Origin. And you know that Jeff Bezos, the Amazon's founder, so he plans to visit the space. He will be the first tech billionaire man to go into the space by using his own company rocket Blue Origin. So if you see some details about the European Space Agency, it is an intergovernmental organization of 22 member states, mainly which focuses on space explorations, which is established in 1975 and headquartered in Paris. So these are the few details about the European Space Agency, and they are going to hire their first disabled astronaut. So the next news, where China turns on their world's second biggest hydropower dam. So this first two generating units of this dam were officially launched on Monday. So the dam is called the Baihitan Dam on the Jinsa River, which is the tributary of the Yangtze River. So this dam is particularly launched to curb the surging fossil fuel demand by building more hydropower capacity. So China is focusing on developing their hydropower capacity to reduce their dependence on fossil fuels. So it is a 289-meter tall dam which has 16 generating units, and each generating unit is a capacity of 1 million kilowatts. So the total capacity of dam is 16 million kilowatts. So this is second in size because the Three Gorges Dam, which was constructed in 2003 on the Yangtze River, has a capacity of 22.5 million kilowatts. So Yangtze River Dam, the Three Gorges Dam, has 22.5 million kilowatts, and the Baihitan Dam on the Jinsa River, which is a tributary of Yangtze, has capacity of 16 million kilowatts. So these both dams were constructed by one company called the Three Gorges Group Corporation, which is the world's biggest investor in the hydro, solar and wind energy. So when fully operational, this dam will eliminate 20 millions of coal annually. It will eliminate the use of 20 million tons of coal usually. Also remember China's capital Beijing and China's currency renminbi. So capital Beijing, currency renminbi. So next coming to where Philippines. Philippines is in news because it is included in the Financial Action Task Force grey list. Including Philippines. So other than Philippines, Haiti, Malta, South Sudan were also included in this grey list. So what is this grey list? What is this Financial Action Task Force? So Financial Action Task Force is an intergovernmental body which is established in 1989 during the G7 summit in Paris. And the objectives of the Financial Action Task Force are to set standards to promote the implementation of legal, regulatory, operational measures for combating money laundering, terrorist financing and other related threats. So this Financial Action Task Force duty is to regulate money laundering, regulate the terrorist financing, to prohibit the terrorist financing, to prohibit the money laundering activities around the world. So this secretariat is present in Paris and total members present are 37 and India is one of the members. India is part of this Financial Action Task Force. So they release two lists every year, thrice a year. So the grey list is called countries which are considered as safe havens for supporting terror funding and money laundering. So if you are in a grey list, it's like a warning that you may go into the blacklist. So what is blacklist? So blacklist are countries which are non-cooperative countries or territories which are put in blacklist. These countries support terrorist financing and money laundering activities, and every like in a year, thrice a times, this Financial Action Task Force grey list and blacklist will be revised. So the Financial Action Task Force plenary is a deciding body and it meets thrice a year, and every time they will revise this list, and as of now Philippines is present in this grey list. So the next going to appointments where Shambhunath Srivastava was appointed as the chairman of IFUNA, which is nothing but the Indian Federation of United Nations Association. He worked as the former judge of Allahabad High Court and Lokayukta of Chhattisgarh. So this Indian Federation of United Nations Association is simply a non-governmental, voluntary, non-profit organization mainly working for international peace and understanding. Their main aim is to promote the objectives of United Nations and its specialized agencies. So this organization enjoys a special consultative status with the Economic and Social Council of UN. It also runs an Institute of United Nations Studies which is established in 1969, which offers a 6 months diploma course on United Nations and the international understanding. So these are all the details about the Indian Federation of United Nations Association, and the present chairman is Shambhunath Srivastava. So next we will go into sports news where Shafali Verma becomes the youngest Indian to make debut into all formats of cricket. So she was recently picked into the first ODI against England. So this 3-game ODI against England starts on June 27. So this will provide a chance for India to narrow down on players who will be suitable for the next Women 50 over World Cup, which will be played next year in England. So this is like a practice match. It's like a selection match for the World Cup team. So Shafali Verma was 15 years, 239 days when she was selected into T20s, and earlier 11 days ago she was selected into the test match, and now at the age of 17 years 150 days she was taken into the one-day internationals. So she was the youngest Indian to get into all formats of cricket. So if you see the top 5 youngest cricketers who debuted into all for all the formats were, the first place is by Mujib-ur-Rahman of Afghanistan at the age of 17 years 78 days, Sarah Taylor from England at 70 years 86 days, Elsie Perry from Australia at 17 years 104 days, Mohammad Amir of Pakistan at 17 years 108 days, and Shafali Verma from India at 17 years 150 days. She is the youngest Indian to make debut into all forms of cricket. So please remember. So the next question, next current affair where Indian shooter Rahi Sharnobat wins gold at the International Shooting Sport Federation World Cup Shooting Championships. So she got gold in the 25-meter pistol event, and silver went to France Lemoni, and bronze went to Russia's Vitellini. So they stood at 1, 2, 3 places. And another Indian shooter, Manu Bakar, was finished at 7th position. So this International Shooting Sport Federation event will be the qualifying event for the coming 2020 Tokyo Olympics, and it is the last competition before the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. So this World Cup was held in Croatia. So this International Shooting Sport Federation World Cup is introduced by the Sports Federation in 1986 to promote the system of qualification to Olympic shooting competitions. So if you qualify in this sports event, in this World Cup, you will be qualified to the Olympics. So it's a format formed in 1986 mainly to send people to the Olympic Games. So this is about the Indian shooter Rahi Sharnobhat, who wins gold at the World Cup shooting championships. So next, going into ICC Men's T20 World Cup to be held in United Arab Emirates as well as Oman. So originally it must be conducted in India, but it is shifted to UAE and Oman because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation in India. So BCCI will remain to be the host, okay, and they will conduct these matches at Dubai International Stadium, Sheikh Zayed Stadium, Sharjah Stadium and Oman Cricket Academy ground between 17th October to 14th November 2021. So in July 2020, the International Cricket Council has announced that both the 2020 and 2021 editions of the T20 World Cup are postponed due to COVID pandemic. So therefore, the 2020 tournament to be held in November 2021 and 2021 tournament is shifted to October 2022. Originally, Australia must host in 2021 and India must host in 2022, but they reversed their order. Now India is hosting in 2021 and Australia is hosting in 2022. And the first edition of the T20 World Cup was held in 2007 in South Africa and India was the champion, the inaugural champion. The last edition was held in 2016 in India itself and West Indies was the current champion. So these are all the details about ICC T20. So let us see a few details about BCCI, the Board of Controlling of Cricket in India and International Cricket Council. So the BCCI present president is Sourav Ganguly, secretary is Jay Shah, which is formed in 1928, headquartered in Mumbai. ICC chairman is Greg Barclay, CEO is Manu Sanve, formed in 1909 and headquartered in Dubai. So these are the details of ICC and BCCI. So please by heart. So next, going into a news where Ansula Rao, the first woman cricketer to get a dope ban. She is a Madhya Pradesh all-rounder, the first Indian cricketer, first woman cricketer to be given a 4-year ban after failing the dope test. This ban was the decision was given by the National Anti-Doping Agency for faking a dope test in July 2020. Earlier, she was also found guilty of consuming a banned anaerobic steroid 19-norandrosterone. So she is guilty of using steroids, banned steroids. Now also she failed the dope test. So she is an under 23 cricketer who is generally participating in the BCCI organized domestic tournaments. She also participated in the 2019-2020 under 23 event organized by BCCI. So let us see a few details about the National Anti-Doping Agency, which is formed in 2005, headquartered in Delhi, which is responsible for promoting, coordinating, monitoring the doping control program in all sports, in all forms in India. So it follows the World Anti-Doping Agency guidelines. So this is about the National Anti-Doping Agency. So next news is about an International Asteroid Day is observed on 30th June. International Asteroid Day is observed on 30th June. The main aim of the day is to create public awareness about the asteroid impact hazard and to inform public about the crisis communication actions to be taken when in a global level in case there is a credible near-Earth object threat. So the largest recorded asteroid impact took place in Russia-Serbia region, mainly near the Tunguska River on 30th June 1908. So this event on the day 30th June is observed as the International Asteroid Day, mainly to create awareness about the asteroid threats. So asteroids are simply the rocky remnants left over from the early formation of solar system about 4.6 billion years ago. These were rocky sediments which are left over, remnants which are left over after the formation of solar system. Roughly there are 10.9 lakh asteroids. They generally are observed between the Mars and Jupiter and they revolve around the sun in eccentric orbits. So sometimes they move towards the earth, they come towards the earth. So they range from a size of a small pebble to 600 million area. So they size from small to large. So they are so small that they aren't considered as planets. They are not considered as planets even though they are orbiting around the sun. So they are generally called the leftover material of the solar space. So please by heart about asteroids and the International Asteroid Day, June 30. So next we will go into one more important day called the International Day of Parliamentarism, observed on 30th June. So this day celebrates the parliaments and recognizes the significance of the parliamentary systems of government in shaping the modern society. This day acknowledges the importance of the strong parliaments as a cornerstone of democracy, representing the voice of the people, passing laws, implementing laws and policies, and making the government accountable. So this day marks the establishment of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, which is a global organization of parliaments established in 1889, and Inter-Parliamentary Union is a world organization of parliaments connecting all the national parliaments to promote transparency, accountability and participation. So which is headquartered in Geneva and formed in 1889. So please remember. So the last current affair for today, the Chief Justice of India, N.V. Ramana, has released a book titled Anomalies in Law and Justice. So this book was authored by Justice R.V. Ravindran. So this book is an attempt to explain the layman about the law and the legal system, which is still evolving, and it requires more critical thinking to resolve issues. So this book covers both procedural and substantial law relating to civil procedure, electoral reforms and alternate dispute resolution mechanism. Simply it's a book to layman to understand the judicial system in India, which is authored by Justice R.V. Ravindran. So we'll go into the one word key points quickly. So the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal E-Dwar is a portal of Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. So Asia's longest and world's fifth longest high-speed track is constructed at Pithampur, Indore. So Zen Garden and Kaizen Academy were inaugurated at Ahmedabad by PM Modi. So European Space Agency is going to send its first disabled asteroid. China has launched its world's second biggest hydropower dam. So Philippines is now listed in the Financial Action Task Force Grey List. Shambhunath Srivastava is the chairman of Indian Federation of United Nations Association. Shafili Verma is the youngest Indian to debut into all forms of cricket. Rahi Sharnobat wins gold at the International Shooting Sport Federation World Cup Shooting. So T20 World Cup 2021 to be held in UAE and Oman. Anshula Rao is the first woman cricketer to be dope banned. So to get dope banned. So International Asteroid Day is observed on June 30. International Day of Parliamentarism is observed on June 30. Anomalies in the Law and Justice is a book authored by Justice R.V. Ravindran. So these are all the current affairs for today. So tomorrow we will have an MCQ session. So come and follow the MCQ session. So if you like our content, subscribe our YouTube channel. This PDF is present in our Telegram channel. So go and join our Telegram channel. So we launched our Career Power Hyderabad app. So do download the app. So a lot of courses related to banking, SSC, RRB are coming soon in the app. So we started our offline classes from today, July 1st itself, at our branches Dilshuk Nagar and Amirpet, mainly for bank, SSC, RRB. So do visit our branch or call our numbers. So you can see the numbers and address on the display. So call the number or visit our branch for any inquiry related to bank, SSC, RRB. So that's it for today. So we'll meet in the next class. Thank you everyone.